we can begin to look directly into this mind essence, which is always present. And there's a teachers call the purified mind, the clear, bright mind, the still mind, which is not in opposition to anything, even thought. On a relative level, we have to manage our mind in this way, anchoring it, having it hold on to particular practice, just so that we are not chasing it all the time through the fields. But the clear, bright, still, luminous mind, which of course is everything, but the place of non-thingness is always present. We do not create it, it is unborn. We cannot get it by fighting. We can't get it through strategies or manipulation. We can't see it because we've screwed ourselves up one way or another, tried to force something to happen. It is our birthright. But because we just are clinging so hard to these conditions of our life and our body, which we have every reason to let go of, because we are so clinging to the surface of those things, it's hard to see. And the spiritual path has always been fraught with challenge, with difficulty, with the essential requirement of renunciation of our clinging. During Sesshin, there are two essential approaches. And of course, with the course of time, we keep talking about many different approaches because there are many different people with many different states of mind. One side might be called complete acceptance, radical acceptance, total acceptance. And the other side might be called complete engagement, total involvement, total absorption. Of course, they come together. Complete acceptance is to not give importance to the arguing, judging mind, and to rest in the experience of the body as it is, following the breath meticulously without gaps, losing it, coming back again. Complete acceptance is we have our basic tethering of mind, never behaves like we'd like it to behave. We have our imperfect body, never will be like we'd like it to be. We have our particular emotional constellation, sometimes up, sometimes down. But during Sesshin, to just accept the whole package, to be willing to just sit and be with this flawed jewel that is our life. Now, acceptance is not the mind saying over and over again, I accept, I accept, I accept. It may be there's some superficial techniques that that's helpful for. Because when we're busy saying, I accept, I accept, I accept, that means there's also a part of us that's saying, I don't accept, I don't accept, I don't accept. So real acceptance is being willing to be the experience of breath, of body. Being willing to be the experience of sound. Complete acceptance is sitting in. And it's not until we sit in can we go beyond. Dogen Zenji keeps saying, study the Buddha way is to study the self, and study the self is to forget the self. The forgetting of the self comes when we have completely been willing to sit in our own experience. So we're no longer opposing it. Knowing that it is always the entrance gate. And the other approach, of course, is complete and total engagement. We're actively and fiercely hanging on to a koan like mu. And there's no gap. Moment after moment, one continuous stream. It requires a certain fierceness to do that. And of course, to do that hour after hour requires a certain vitality. In both cases, of course, being really interested and curious in the process adds more energy to the practice. And koans, in koan practice, it can require either form or it can require other things too. Because what we're talking about is not the end of practice. Talking about is the entrance gate to practice. There are many more aspects of it. All approaches require a bright, clear mind. Not the social functioning, bright, clear mind that we think of as a cheerful, happy mind. Well, it's nice when we encounter that. But the mind that is always luminous, that illuminates everything it sees. It illuminates the room, it illuminates the sun and the moon, it illuminates everything, which is always present. When we sink into this realm, we sit in this realm, when our samadhi becomes more and more complete, that is, our absorption becomes more and more complete, our ability to concentrate moment to moment, without gaps, becomes more and more, then we can forget the small personality. It's a little scary sometimes because we're so used to tracking, how am I doing, how am I doing, how am I doing, is everything okay, am I like me, am I doing okay? But to actually begin to sink into practice where we forget all of that. We forget to monitor ourselves. It's unimportant. We forget all those others out there. Be a little anxious sometimes. There's a place of anxiety that some people can encounter. But as we are working with this, do not get sidetracked by anxiety or other states. Anything that comes will go. And that includes insights, great insights, and terrible fear. What's the container beyond these? If we have even a glimpse of the bright, clear mind that is our essential nature, if we see it, it becomes more and more compelling. It's not the end of practice, but practice takes on a different kind of juice. Poet Ikkyu, Zen teacher, said that even if you have a glimpse of Ms. true nature, even a glimpse of Ms. true nature, and you will fall instantly in love. This taste, this glimpse, is really the foundation for us to follow deeply the Buddhist path. Nothing stays that comes, and yet if we have a true glimpse, a taste, resting in, we know that for ourselves, it becomes part of our psyche, part of our body. It's not something we have to remember all the time or recall or recollect, but it's something that we know. And then it's on that basis that we can take the next step forward. One entrance gate that is helpful in entering this kind of samadhi is stillness. Not the rigid stillness of a frozen person or the rock-hard stillness of complete resistance, but a soft, gentle stillness. A body that does not move. A body that, on the exhalation, we slow the breath down and let it out. Right to the end, without forcing. And the body breathes itself again. And the only movement there is this slow movement of the breath. It can become almost imperceptible. So please, for the rest of Sesshin, don't move. Don't get up in the middle of a sitting. Don't wiggle. Hold the body, let the body be still, and then let the mind be still with it. You're still welcome to stand up for a period if you like. But once the period has begun, whether you're sitting or standing, please don't move. Whenever we're talking about practice and meditation, of course, we've discussed over the years, people who've been around for a long time, or people who've studied Buddha Dharma, we've talked about the 5 hindrances on many occasions. The 5 hindrances to meditative absorption, the 5 hindrances to embodying the Dharma, 5 hindrances, skeptical doubt, the desire for more pleasure, sloth and laziness, judgment and criticism, anxiety. All those are common hindrances to meditation. And we work with them the ways I've been talking about, or other ways we've talked about over the course of years, or your own direct experience of working with them. They have to be worked with. But there are other kinds of challenges that we face as our practice becomes a little richer, as we begin to open up some of the vast space inside. It can be quite possible to become confused or to misperceive or misinterpret different experiences that we have. This is what Dakpo Tashi Nangyao, Vajrayana teacher, says. For people of little learning, that's us, who have only spent a short time following their teacher, again, that's us. There is a great risk of getting involved in sidetracks and strayings into intellectual understanding and meditative moods. Instead of recognizing